Hello everyone, this is Moshe, the Electric Israeli and FSD. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and help me change the world one electric car at a time. Please consider supporting this new and growing channel. And I am in a nice Airbnb house actually in Lauderdale by the Sea on our annual Christmas vacation. My wife and I and my son can come here every year. Sometimes my second son joins us. And I've been driving here to Florida from New Jersey, northern New Jersey, northwest New Jersey, for about 15 years. I always take rides, and I did it with big gaslers, and of course, in the last few years in our Tesla, since 2018, our Tesla Model 3, and now the Model Y. And I have to say that this time, it was the most challenging drive we ever done. The main reason is that we left on Friday, right at the beginning of the cyclone bomb. Now, just to be fair, we did not get the snow, the massive snow that northern New York State and Michigan around the Great Lake got it, which was horrible, caused, I think from what I heard last time, over 60 deaths, which is horrific. But we got the cold, okay? So when I left New Jersey on Friday, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was, I would say, 32 degrees, zero Celsius, all right? It was really, really cold, but nothing so outrageous. By the time we got to Washington, D.C., it was getting closer to about 8 or 9 degrees and going down south 8 or 9 degrees. When we got to Florida, listen to this, Florida, we got to maybe 28 or 29 degrees. Only now, I'm recording this video on Wednesday, only now we starting to get, the normal, that's why we come to Florida, 75 degrees. It was crazy. The entire country was in frigid mode. And I have to tell you about the Model Y and how it performs. First of all, it was my wife and I and my son, 3 adults. Usually I put a full-size tire in the back and the jack and all the tire equipment in case we have a flat tire in the front. I always take it. You never know. There are parts on Route 95 in the Carolinas that I don't think there's a cell service. So you don't want to take chances. I'm handy, and if something happens, I can change a tire. I've done it before, unfortunately. So I always do it. So the car is heavy, it's fully loaded, which is not the issue. The problem was not only the temperature dropping precipitously, but also the wind, the cyclone-like wind. And even the Tesla at one point calculated and said in the sticker that there is wind from the west, gusty winding from the west. Now, I can tell you with the last few software updates, the Tesla trip calculation has become so much more accurate than it used to be. Really are good. Now, if the temperature is 40, 50 degrees and up, you know your car. If you drive Teslas, you know your car, you know exactly what you're going to get, which is usually 90 to 93% on 70 miles an hour average drive. This is not a problem. Now, I drive in kilometers. I put this in kilometers, which is about 120 kilometers per hour. So that's not the issue. That's not the issue at all. But this time, and I'll give you one example, we got to outside of DC to a supercharger in Virginia. And when I started the ride, this drive, Tesla predicted 20 degrees. And it was such a drop in temperature that when we got to the supercharger, we ended up with 2%, 7 kilometers, like 3 miles basically. And on top of this, there was a car stuck, a green Tesla Model 3 stuck on one of the supercharger stalls, and it had to be towed. And on top of that, all the superchargers were taken, so we had to wait. And I have to say, I felt a little tiny of anxiety, but it was great. The version 3 superchargers, they are so amazing that drivers don't stay that long. So we backed the car in, and we plugged it in, and it says 55 minutes. Now, I always set it to 100% when I'm on a road trip, but I never get to 100%. I always get to whatever is the next supercharger I want to be. If I want to drive only for a couple hours, I find the next supercharger that is that distance. I don't know, 150 miles or whatever that is, on 20 miles, depending on where I want to be. All right? between 220 and 250 kilometers. That's where I set up. But I have to tell you, this was by far the most challenging trip. The efficiency of the car was about 75%. In other words, 75 miles for every 100 miles driven, which is very low. But despite that, if I would have taken, and I have taken with Ford Explorers and everything, drives like this in normal condition, where the temperature is getting warmer as you're going south. Here it was exactly the opposite. We left at 32 degrees. We got down to, like I said, 8 degrees or something like that. Now, my suggestions to you is that, first of all, always preheat your car, okay? If you're going to a supercharger, even if you know where it is, put it on your navigation so it's precondition your car, and so you get efficient, fast, and good superchargers. So you don't have to wait. Know your route. Know what alternatives you have, and most importantly, and this is no matter what the temperature is, always charge your car to 100 miles more than you need. Your next destination is 150 miles. Charge it to 250 miles. All right. So do not hesitate. Why? Because throughout this trip, even though I got to 2%, throughout this trip, I always maintain good speed, 70 miles an hour, 120 kilometers an hour. The heat, fully loaded, no problem. All right, so that was that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.